Okay, guys, welcome back to our podcast. Today, I have a special guest, which is Jason Lopez from Swing Solutions. He has a wonderful company in Kingston. If you're in Kingston and you play golf, this is the man for you. But I met Jason about 10 years ago, right? And we've worked together ever since on reducing body fat, just optimizing health. And we were just having a chat the other day, and we said we'd come and sit down and share with the public, because I think a lot of guys in your age group, Jason, can benefit from the optimization that you've put into your life and the changes that you've made. So, tell us what life used to be like 10 years ago or even prior to that.
Oh boy, well, I don't know if that's fit for a
No, but tell us, if you are a party guy, you are a party guy.
Yeah, well, listen, most definitely. My background is I was a college athlete.
Right.
I was a recruited Division I college golfer.
Right.
I played for Jamaica.
Right.
And so, listen, I had a certain level of discipline,
right.
But I certainly don't believe that health and fitness was part of my makeup at that time.
So, question. So then when you left Jamaica shores to go and study in the US as a D1 athlete, did you have a regimen in place for, say, fitness or strength training for golf?
No. At that time, it was kind of a taboo subject for golfers to be into strength and fitness. Golfers were say, if you lift weights, you'll get too tight, you'll lose your range of motion, it'll ruin your golf swing. So during that period, there were very few golfers who endeavored in that way. And I think culturally, even when I was at Florida State, which is a big Division I school, right across the board in all sports, us as golfers, we were not encouraged in that way or educated in that way. And I certainly didn't adopt it. And that was certainly, I think, affected my career.
Wow.
Negatively.
Right. So then you're now starting to get older. You start going to the gym, I would guess, post-university.
Yeah.
It's what? You're getting out of shape. What promoted you, or what hinted you to start attending the gym?
Well, listen, if I was going to be perfectly frank, it was vanity.
Right.
So vanity is what got me interested in the gym. I was 39 years old. I was getting married. I can remember the day I walked into this place. It was
right.
January 3rd,
right.
2016. I was getting married in April, and I wanted to look good.
Right.
That was really the genesis.
Right.
I'd be disingenuous to the public to say,
right.
I had some moment where I said, oh my gosh, I need to start taking care of myself.
Right.
I wanted to look good.
Look good for your wedding.
And in that time when I came here, from the day I walked in here, that was 10 years ago, obviously we did some work. I liked how I looked. I liked how I felt, more importantly.
Mm-hmm.
And after the wedding, I said, well, listen, this is something that I need to continue to do, because the obvious benefits were there. Anybody likes looking good. Mm-hmm. I like looking good. You like looking good, but feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what ultimately was the hook, mm-hmm. and that's where my real fitness journey began, and the education that you and I shared through that last 10 years, and mistakes, different protocols, from whatever the training modalities, the eating modalities, the sleeping modalities, the recover modalities, whatever they were. Mm-hmm. It's been an incredible journey since then. Mm-hmm. And that also began to change a few years ago, because I started to get older. So, albeit I was into working out to look and feel better, all of a sudden I started to feel I wasn't getting what I thought I should be getting based on what I was doing. And, that's where I think, the next level of longevity, right, and fitness and health.
Right, which is the anti-aging, which is essentially
That's
turning the gym into a clinic.
Absolutely. It's the gym is just a word that we use, but, that's exactly what it is. It's a clinic.
Right. So, I remember when we first sat down to speak, you were going to other gyms before. And you were doing, when I looked at your previous program, it was more cardio based.
Yeah.
You'd go on the treadmill, you'd run. Just doing the average things that most people to do. So we moved across more of a strength based program.
Absolutely.
And what would you say would have been the main benefits you found from that?
Well, and you're 100% right. Listen, at that time, what did I view fitness as? Yeah, getting on a treadmill, getting on an elliptical machine, getting on a rowing machine. I'm not putting down any of those training methods because they all have their place. But I didn't truly understand what this thing was all about. And, you know, one of the most meaningful things, Jay, that you ever said to me, you might not even remember saying it to me, you said, Jason, most people aren't overweight, they're under-muscled. And that really hit me. And I said, you know, I looked at myself in the mirror and I go, you know, he's right. I mean, I'm here trying to I'm just focused on this weight loss thing. And, you know, when with weight loss, we're talking really about body fat reduction, not just what a number on a scale says, which is another thing I had to learn and understand properly. But once I started understanding the benefits of progressive overload, that was the game changer.
Right. So I remember in that period, there was a lot of progressive overload on compound lifts, and that helped you to build the muscle you wanted, and it helped to change your body.
Yes.
Recomposition.
Right. Yes. Which I'd never experienced before.
Right.
Yes, I had gotten lighter on a scale.
Right.
But I had never really seen a change physically in
my
body.
Right. So this approach to body recomposition, big compound lifts. Now with this anti-aging approach, I see you now, you do a lot more mobility work. You do a lot more work working on your tendons and your ligaments, etc.
Of course. Well, you know, I started at 39, I'm now 49 this year. You have to start, and this is again a part of the learning curve, you have to start to tailor your exercises and your movements to your age. I can't even do at 39 what I could have done, what I can do now at 49. So moving away from a certain type of lift and substituting it with something else for the same benefit, maybe a little less risk for me in terms of a load, maybe moving from a squat to a Bulgarian, whatever that might be. So yes, I've started to modify the movements. And obviously, as you age, mobility becomes huge. You and I discussed the whole concept of weighted mobility, which was a totally new concept to me, and the benefits of that. And sure, I'm modifying and consistently modifying how I train just to where I'm at in my life.
And how does that help with your golf? How does the mobility training help with golf?
Well, listen, golf is it's all about that, right? So you have to move your body in 3 planes of motion, very seamlessly and in a very integrated way. So whether it's flexion, extension, side bending, rotation, the ground forces that come from your legs, the wrist movements, whatever it is, it's all, that's a whole different topic. There's tremendous benefits. I can hit the ball further now at 49 than I could when I was 39, and I believe so even when I was 29. I am a stronger person now at 49 than I think I was at any point in time in my career. So
Jason is aging backwards, right? His performance is getting better over the last 20 years, and he's getting older. So I know a lot of people say, I'm getting old now, I can't do that anymore. A lot of men in particular say these things, and I always disagree with them because I don't think they have the information to realize that you could actually get faster. You could actually jump higher than you were at your youngest point when you did your best. Yeah.
Well, listen, it's very easy. And, I heard this, and anybody hears that as you're an aging man and you say, boy, that's normal, man. You're not supposed to be able to do those things anymore. You're getting older. Take it easy. Relax. Do less, not more. You need to look after your body by not putting so much strain on it. And you need to look after your body by lying down in your bed more, or spending more time with the children. Not that any of these things are bad. But I think that it sends the wrong message to men in their 40s that you can still train safely in a way that still very much sending that signal to the body to change, to grow, but not doing it in a way that you're going to, and I think for a lot of people, hurt themselves. And I think that's the main fear, and I had that fear. Of course I did. I don't want to hurt myself while I'm along this journey. I think invariably you will hurt yourself along the way as you're learning, and you have to accept that as, this is a sport of life. You will make mistakes. You will injure yourself from time to time. You learn from those mistakes and you modify your training.
So tell me, as a dad of 2 kids, you keeping active and showing up for them, how does this transfer for you?
Well, everything, as you get older, and like I said, I got married reasonably late in life. My wife is 10 years younger than I am. I had children in my early 40s. I'm 49 now, and I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, and listen, you, the wisdom of having children when you're younger, I see what the benefits there are now. But yeah, you need to be able to keep up with them.
Right.
And I didn't want to be in a position where I couldn't pick my child off the ground, run around with them in the playground, swing with them on the jump. I wanted to be able to do all of these things. And I truly believe that if I didn't do what I have done over the last 10 years, that, you know, sitting here today, I would have been in a different place with them.
Right.
You know?
So we want to then showcase what I mean, really want to point out here is that these 10 years have been technically an investment, because you're now reaping in life the benefits in your golf, the benefits in you just moving around, getting in out of the car, playing with your kids. Yeah. What you did years ago now is helping you in what you're doing today. Yeah,
you're paying it forward, right? So, I mean, listen, whether it's on the social aspect, you know, or on the family aspect, but, you know, on the business aspect, you spoke to the word, you used the word investment. And if you're not feeling good, it's not likely that you are going to progress in your career. You're going to be able to do less, think less. You're not going to be as sharp. You're not going to be as motivated. You're not going to be as determined. You know, the things that men bring to the table, you know, to push the envelope, to go far, to push further, you know, in our careers. And if we're in the position where we own our own businesses or we're managing people, to be able to push them as well. And if you are not feeling those things, then how can you possibly pass that on?
So it's not just physical.
No, definitely
you have a carryover in decision making and mindset and performing, operating at a leadership role.
Absolutely. If you feel that you are, and the buzzword now is optimized.
Yes.
Okay. If you're feeling optimized, then you feel like you can, your aura that you have about you is going to rub off on the people around you. And certainly that's very important in family life. It's important for me, for my children to see me as a man and that person, for my wife to see me that way, for my friends, and then ultimately being a self-employed and a business owner, for my employees to see me that way. If they see me getting weaker, more injured, more frail, less determined, less aggressive. I mean, I know the word aggressive can be viewed in many ways, but there's some really upside to being aggressive. Okay. If they see that in you, then what's going to drive them to say, all right, you know, I'm with this guy and we're going to be pushing towards this guy. You know?
Right. So as we close on the exercise portion and the activity portion before we move into nutrition, would you say there's maybe a top 3 list of exercises or top 3 things for you over the last 10 years that you say, I'm definitely holding on to these lifts or I'm definitely holding on to these movements because I think they're super important?
Yeah, well, listen, for me, it was about keeping it simple. I mean, you've seen me here. I'm a big time. I believe in the benefits of just kind of doing the same things over and over and over again. That's my golfing career, right? Getting the right things in place and just being consistent, never wavering, you know. And I would say for me, it's just the simplistic compound lifts. I think that those have benefited me the most. Yes, there's all forms of variations. You know, for the legs, we know the squat. I mean, I've recently transitioned to the Bulgarians.
I've seen you doing that a lot.
Right?
Yeah.
The elevated Bulgarian, weighted Bulgarian. And for me, I think that's, a game changer. I started with just traditional barbell squats. And then, you know, as we age, you say, okay, maybe loading the spine from that position, maybe not optimal. As you get a little older, okay, let's transition into this movement. So I really enjoy that movement. And I believe very, very much in a weighted calisthenic move. You know, you see me a lot on the pull-up bar, different variations, you know, whether supinated, pronated, wide, narrow. I'm huge on that. So I think those would be my staple. And you see, I do a lot of band work as well.
Yeah, you know, prior to going into your lifts.
Sure, of course, all that prehab work, you know, the shoulder mobility and internal, external rotation, all the things that we need so that, you know, we don't hurt ourselves.
Right, and we function. Right. So talk me through your diet over, I mean, I must commend, I've been taking your body fat now for the last 10 years. And it's trended downwards, and we've had hints when it's gone back up, and we've had chats about diet. And I mean, now it appears to me you're taking on more protein than you ever did, and probably taking on carbs around what you need to do.
Yes.
So talk me through about that journey, and how is it playing out for you? How does it make you feel? What are the things people have said to you about it? and more importantly, what results has it given to you?
Yeah. Well, listen, like I say, in my 30s and stuff, I didn't have really any clue about nutrition. Food was food, and alcohol was alcohol, and we just got on with life. And I would say you're right. When I first came in and we started taking body fat measurements and starting to understand these things, I didn't really have a solid foundation of what is the appropriate way for me to eat based on my goals. And again, you said something to me, and again, you might not even remember that was meaningful to me. It stood out to me. It says, I was on a weight loss journey at one point in time, and you said, Jay, and I said, I'm eating clean, Jay, and I'm doing all these things.
Yeah,
and he's like, Jason, eating clean and eating for weight loss are not the same thing. And I was like, what is he talking about? If you eat healthy foods and whatever, why shouldn't I be losing weight?
Right.
Well,
yeah.
The truth is I was not in a calorie deficit, even though I was eating things that are technically, somebody could label them healthy.
Yes.
Whatever you want to call those things. So, understanding what, a calorie deficit means and what the importance of it, and a calorie surplus and when it's appropriate. And then obviously, understanding that protein, particularly at where I'm at in my life, is a super important macro. And where are those best sources coming from? We are told so many things, Jay. If you eat too many eggs, you'll get high cholesterol. If you eat too much beef, you'll whatever. You should eat more vegetables. You should eat more this. You should eat more that. So, ultimately, what it boiled down for me was a lot of trial and error, and then understand. Once I understood that if I upped my protein intake, and of course there was carbohydrates when appropriate and fats when appropriate, and then keeping myself in a somewhat of a deficit while I was training, then I could reap the benefits of still putting on lean mass, but also losing the body fat. That doesn't mean that my scale weight would necessarily change, but I could look in the mirror, and I always say this to people, the mirror never lies.
So what's a typical day for you from morning to evening? If you
in
were
terms
to
of
eat
food?
A full day, yeah.
Oh gosh, well, typical for me is my breakfast. I eat 6 eggs every morning. Yes, I'll take out some egg yolks sometimes, and I will add a very lean meat, some turkey in there, and then just like a scrambled egg. I'll add some cottage cheese. Again, I'm trying to push up my protein intake, but still, keep my calories at.
What about the oils? Are you particular about the oils you use?
Very much so. That's a whole nother topic. I had no grasp of how these little condiments can ruin what it is you're trying to achieve.
Oh yeah.
I had no clue, for example, how caloric olive oil is. Throw it in there, but it's good for you.
Right.
That's what
Olive oil is from Italy, man.
I'm not saying that it's good or it's bad, but I can tell you that there's a lot of calories in it.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't use any of those things. Again, I need to be able to, I measure my food, so I want to know within a certain deviation how much calories are in what I'm eating. So I try to eat 500 to 600 calories in the morning.
Right.
And I want a lot of that to be protein based. So that's what a morning will look like to me. Of course, I can throw in some nice oats, and I can throw in a piece of fruit, because fruits are not the devil.
No.
Sometimes you need your fiber.
Right.
A nice red apple or some oranges, whatever it might be. I typically, if I'm in a weight loss or I'm trying to lean out protocol, lunch for me is not a big meal. It's a shake. A protein shake, or maybe sometimes it's no meal at all. And for dinner, listen, I'm a big steak guy.
Yeah,
right?
Me too.
I'm a big steak guy. Eating a nice lean piece of meat with a sweet potato, or even Irish potato, even some rice. People demonize these things. Again, they shouldn't be demonized. Along with some vegetables. That's what it'll look like for me.
Wow.
But I don't, throw in a lot of sugary drinks.
Right.
I'm not drinking a lot of fruit drinks.
So what do you sip on through the day?
Listen, mostly water, but not just water on its own. I like to add some minerals.
Electrolytes, right?
Sure.
So structured water.
Of course. So,
right.
Have you need your sodium and your magnesium in that water. So an element, for example, in there.
Yes.
So you don't want to just drink water.
Because guys, water on its own doesn't hydrate you cellularly. No. Doesn't get into the cell to hydrate. So Jason is deep in the science. And it shows. I think we will pull up a before picture of when Jason
please don't.
for 10 years ago. But I can tell you, Jason is so much leaner now. You just see him and his confidence, how he walks around. Not that he wasn't confident before. It's just he's reached to a point, I think, where everything is on autopilot and the decisions are already been made. It's not what am I going to eat today or what do I feel like, which is where the people who have the best results, because Jason would have been here and seen some of the greatest guys come through here. We've seen Johan Blake here. We've seen Usain Bolt here. We've seen these guys who have been at the top of their game. And you see how consistent they are in some of the stuff that they do. And
discipline.
Yeah.
There's no peptide for it.
Right, exactly. Because guys, I mean, at the end of the day, if you get help, at the end of the day, you have to remain consistent.
Yes.
If you're fixing your gut health, you have to remain consistent. I was saying to someone the other day, particularly about sauerkraut, for example, and bone broth. And they were like, oh, I use it now and again when I feel like. I'm like, if it has to be regimented.
Yes.
For you to get the results.
And food is an interesting topic because you say, what is food? Is it fuel or is it just something that you eat? You know, and once you start to view food as your fuel, you're an engine. Whether you're either you can be a single cylinder, a V4, V6, or a V12. All right, and if you're going to power yourself throughout the day, and are you going to make these decisions based on what tastes good to you, or are you going to make these decisions based on what is going to give me maximum benefit for what it is I'm trying to achieve? And for me, that was a simple choice. And not to say, listen, nobody's hard line on these things. It's not that you can't eat things that you enjoy. We can eat. I enjoy a piece of pizza.
Yes.
I enjoy ice cream.
But you make room for it.
You make room for
and
it.
It's
you
planned for.
You make an allowance. And the analogy I always use is like how much money you have in the bank. If you have a lot of money in the bank, you can spend some of that money without worrying about it. So, if you're, as that relates to fitness, if I'm in really good health, I'm pretty lean, I like where my weight, I like where mass, can I spend a little bit more? Yeah, I can eat a little more pizza, I can do this. But if you're in the beginning of your journey, for example, you're a newbie and you're really trying to get those gains, you have less money to spend.
Right.
So, you
gotta build up the bank.
Yeah, build up the bank. That would be my advice.
Right.
So once you build up the bank, there's time to enjoy yourself.
So what about recovery protocols, Jason? For active recovery on the weekends, what does your weekends in terms of look like? You're here 4 or 5 days a week. What do you do for recovery?
Well, listen, I think the sauna was a game changer. Hot sauna, ice baths. You have to, another thing I had to learn the importance of. I thought just train. No, you need to recover. The body needs time to grow, time to heal. So I started actually, as I'm getting a bit older, I find myself, I wouldn't say I train less, I train more intensely for shorter periods, and then I give myself more rest to recover. So I have my days where I come here, I'll do something light, and I'll go spend half an hour in the sauna. I'll spend some time in the ice bath. Maybe I'll get some soft tissue work done. I'll make sure I eat well. And then we're go-getter people, right? You and I, sleep.
Yes. Can't replace it.
Can't replace it. If you're not sleeping well and you're not getting enough sleep, you're almost wasting your time, I would say.
Yeah.
And I think I shared this with you early, because of some lifestyle stuff, I was not sleeping well.
Yeah.
My cortisol levels, I was coming to you saying, Jay, I'm not sleeping well. I'm waking up in the middle of the night. I can't get to bed till late. And it's sabotaging what I'm trying to do. So, getting into a proper sleep regime is absolutely important. If anything, I'd say that's probably number one.
Yep. A good sleep base helps everything else.
Yes.
We have studies that show poor sleep will impact where you are training. Your body fat is going up and your muscle is not going anywhere. No. But if your sleep is well, you will build muscle and your fat will go down. Sleep can change the difference between those. So Jason, we looked at nutrition, we looked at activity and training protocols, and we looked at recovery. Yeah. How does that all now fit into creating the right mindset? And what type of mindset have you created from bringing all of those things together?
Well, the mindset really now is, when you look at your life at this point, you say, well, what is it that I'm really trying to achieve? And what is it that you want from life? And what do I want? I want to see, I have 2 daughters. I want to see them get married, have children, have a long life. I want to be able to live to see all of that. I had children later in life. So what does that mean for me? I want to live long. And if I don't do all the things that we just mentioned, what is the likelihood of that happening? What will I miss? So every day my mindset is based around that. What's best for my family? Wow. And for me to have as much experiences positive experiences left in this time that I have left. I mean, the fact is, I'm 50. I'm half of a century old. Now that hit me the other day.
Right.
I have lived half
almost
of a
there.
century. That's a long time.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a long time.
Almost there.
Yes. So, going into transitioning now from the 40s to the 50s to the 60s and being functional, being able to do the things I enjoy, be with my family, be with my friends, still have a productive career. That's what's happening up here. It's not just, I want to be happy.
Right. You want to be strong.
I want to be strong.
To live long, which is health span. It's really coming into the point now. Guys, we talk about health span, which is living long. The time that you live for, you want to be independent. Because some people have lifespan. You may live to 90 and the last 20 years was dependent.
Yes.
The aim now is we're making the investment to not be dependent for as little time as possible in the latter part of life, because it's inevitable that we will get to a point where we have to leave this world. But I mean, Jason's just talking about the investments that he's making now to be able to get that. In Jamaica, we have a kind of culture where people say, you're gonna dead anyway.
Yeah. You're most dead.
You're most dead. But I think
they're right.
They're right. You must dead. There are situations that could cause death.
Sure.
However, what we're looking at, and this is, I think, a point that we probably will agree on, is how do we create lifespan? How do we reduce the risks of deaths that is well within our control by what we consume and what we do? How we do reduce the risk of certain cancers, diabetes, hypertension, certain illnesses that has taken so many. How can we remove or lessen those risks? I think is the critical one.
What you're talking about is the controllables.
Right.
The things that we can control. We
Absolutely.
can't get control being killed by a taxi man on
No,
the road.
we can't. No.
Okay, but we can control the things that we've just discussed. And you say, what's the thing, something that resonates with me, and I saw this, somebody had said it, how do you want to die? Do you want to die on your feet or do you want to die on your knees? And I said, well, I want to die on my feet. Yes,
Right.
I will die.
Yes.
The Jamaicans are 100%
Right.
most dead.
Most
but
dead.
how am I going to die?
Right.
And how am I going to go into that death?
Right.
And that's what matters to me.
Wow.
Yes.
So intentional. A lot of key topics here touched on with Jason. As I said, guys, great golfing in Kingston. Go hang out with Jason, play some golf with his people up there, and get this mindset to rub off on you, because it's 10 years of investment that he's speaking now. Because he's speaking, but he's also speaking to me. He's speaking to you. And these things are reminders for us all, as not just men, as humans, because women too. Half the stuff that we've discussed also applies to you. Building muscle, keeping body fat low. It helps with all kinds of issues out there, and it helps us to live stronger for longer. So Jason, I really appreciate you coming down, inspiring the people who are hearing this. And I hope that people will improve from something we have said today, or reach out. Yeah. Reach out to me, reach out to Jason Swing Solutions, get active, get into golf, get into the gym. Just do something, guys, because it will help you. Get into life. Yes, get into life. I like that one.
And if you're out there and you're a male and you're in your 40s and you're not feeling the way you think you should, there is something you can do about it.
Absolutely, guys. And we're here for you. Yeah. Don't be intimidated by us thinking we are far too long gone on this journey. No. I'm here, and Jason, we speak to guys all the time in the facility. Yeah. We're here to help anyone with anything that you need. All right, guys? So take care, and thanks for watching. See you again soon.